Hi guys, I'm Lauren. Welcome to my channel. It's so good to see you guys. Thank you guys for popping in. All about the planty awesomeness here. Today is the second day of Vlogmas. So, yep, so far so good, right? I don't know if I'll be able to keep this up, but we shall see. What I need to do today is take care of this big bad boy. This beautiful Monstera Deliciosa is actually starting to put out. I don't know if you can see it. Alright, so it's actually starting to put out these beautiful aerial roots here, and I need to put it on one of these. So I'm going to unpot this, shove this in there, and attach it to this, and we'll watch it grow. In order for it to get more fenestrations like these, and not just stay big chubby baby leaves, it needs to attach so that it can get more nutrients and feel more stable, so it can grow and be a very happy plant. So these guys naturally grow up trees and are epiphytic, so they'll just climb up trees and they'll be sustained by trees, and it's just a really cool plant. So I want to make sure I have a nice airy mixture for it, and we're just going to go ahead and shift everything and get this all potted up.
Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and unpot this and get the stake out and kind of see what we're working with here. The stake was good, it trained the plant to grow up, which is great. I got a fenestrated leaf out of it, but now I need to make sure that I get something bigger in there so that it can continue to grow. And it'll be happier if it feels like it's up next to a tree. It's actually growing out of this pot anyway, so we need to take a look at this root situation, see what's going on here. It's actually stuck in there pretty good. I'm kind of surprised that it rooted so well in there. Clearly it's very happy with this mixture. So this mix was just worm castings, sphagnum moss, perlite, some charcoal. It's just a really nice airy mixture. And it's clearly loving it. So if you guys get a chance and need to repot, definitely something to consider. I would definitely recommend some type of mix like that. And I'm just going to loosen as much as I can. I don't want to mess with the roots too much because it does have some new growth coming out. And when you start messing with the roots and completely unpotting plants, you can kind of take them off and make their leaves smaller for the next couple ones that they push out. And I don't want to mess with any of that. So I was going to repot the entire thing, but I didn't realize the root system was so extensive. So I think I'm just going to pot it back up in here for now, and put a pole in it, and we'll just kind of post it up and make it work, and I will repot it again in a couple of months and just put it in a bigger pot. So this is actually a wooden dowel that I got from either Lowe's or Walmart, I can't remember which, but I remember that I got it for $1.50. And it's a very huge pole. So I'm just going to tuck this around it and kind of stabilize it. I've got some good wood chunks. So it's going to pin the board, it's going to pin the stake in between the plant and the side of the pot, and that'll stabilize it a little bit more. And then once I tape the plant to the pole, it's going to stabilize it a bit more as well. And I do want to make sure, however I put it in here, that I'm angling it. I want the root to be right up against the pole so that it can actually attach. I'm trying to make the plant feel like it's up against a tree, just like it would be in nature. Because these plants eventually climb up trees and they will lose their roots. And they'll just have a bunch of aerial roots. They won't actually be connected to the earth anymore when they're fully matured. Sometimes they'll stay that way, but they naturally can live without them. It's pretty fascinating. So I am going to tape this here. It's not as attached as I want, so I think I'm going to get some sphagnum moss and try to air layer this a little bit. This is just the sphagnum moss I like. It's light, it's fluffy, it is a better quality than what I can find at Lowe's. I ordered it in a huge brick from Amazon. I'll link it down below, but you can do so much with sphagnum moss. I just got as much as possible. Here I just pulled out some of that sphagnum moss and I placed it in this little pan, and I'm gonna pour some water on it so that it can soak up the water, and that way I can have it fully saturate and be very moisture retentive. I will wring out the excess water because too much water will cause the plants to rot, but I definitely want to make sure that it is gonna create quite a bit of humidity and promote root growth when I air layer it. So I do have a cutting that I took of this plant when I first got it a while ago, and it's been rooting in water this entire time, and it's definitely needing to be potted up. It's needed to be potted up for a long time. So I'm going to use some of this excess sphagnum moss to make a mix for that, and we'll pot that up today as well. So I am just going to kind of try to saturate all of this, and then we'll chop it up really fine, and that way we can have a good even distribution of moisture throughout the pot. Yeah, I actually learned this from Ben over at Worcester Terrariums, the chopping up. He does it for all of his terrariums, and it's just something I've started incorporating into all of my soil mixes, and my plants are loving it. I cannot recommend it enough. It prevents huge wet clumps from forming around the roots and then having incredibly dry areas and then incredibly wet areas. It just helps evenly distribute it a bit more. I don't know. The plants just love it. So it's an extra step. It's kind of a pain, I'm not going to lie, but it's definitely worth it. The plants love it. So I'm just going to keep doing it. Alright, so now that this is chopped up all fine and just full of moisture, it's ready to be air layered. So I'm going to go ahead and get that all set up. I will need to get some plastic wrap, and then I think I'm going to use, I could use tape or a tie, one of the tomato ties. I think I'm going to use that again instead. I think that's going to work better. Alright, so I made sure the aerial root is positioned right next to the pole. And then I have the sphagnum moss over here. I am going to wring out all of the excess water. I do not want it to be so wet that it rots the pole. I just want to create more humidity around this root to try to make the root grow and attach into this pole a bit more. So, because once it attaches, then it'll be able to grow and mature faster. Alright, so I got the sphagnum moss, and I am just going to kind of place it around that aerial root. I don't want to damage the aerial root. I just want to make sure that it's very humid right there to promote growth. And I think I am going to air layer the second aerial root right under this one as well. Can't hurt to have too many aerial roots. Can't hurt to make this as stable as possible. So I'm just going to make sure that there's moss there. Let me get the plastic wrap out over here. Alright, so I just got a little sheet of the plastic wrap here, and I'm going to try to wrap it all the way around the plants in both areas. This is going to add some stability, and then it's going to trap all of the humidity from this sphagnum moss and create kind of a greenhouse effect for these roots, so that way they will attach to the pole better. This is also a great way to promote more root growth if I wanted to chop up this plant and kind of have it propagated before I chopped it up. This would be a great way to do that because those roots are going to be pretty self-sustaining for the most part, and it will grow the rest of the roots much quicker after that. So this is just another amazing propagation technique if you really needed to do that. But I'm just using it to try to get it to attach and mature a bit better. Alright, so this is all done here. I'm going to go get my mix and that propagation, and we'll get that all taken care of. Alright, so I could not find my other bowl for mixing my soil. So this is what I've got going on right now, and I'm just going to use this. I am going to put in some worm castings here. Worm castings are a great natural fertilizer. I don't like to use soil very much if I don't have to, so this will kind of mimic the soil a little bit, provide a natural fertilizer that's not going to burn the foliage on my plants. It's also moisture retentive, so It's gonna give the roots something to grip on and create a little bit of extra humidity in there. I'm gonna use this Jack's Bonsai mix. It's for succulents, but it's got some rocks that's like perlite. It's got a various bunch of them, so I'm not going to go into the different descriptions of that, but it also had some wood chips. Basically, I'm just going to use this to kind of give aeration. I only have a little bit of perlite and I'm using it for something else right now. So I'm just going to use this as a good substitute. And then I'm going to add some sphagnum moss. Basically, I just want it to be a really good aroid epiphytic mix. Just light, airy, moisture retentive, let the roots breathe, you know. So I'm gonna mix up my little pot here. I feel like Nordic or something. Oh my goodness, I'm mixing like a little potion. It's a little plant potion. All right, anyway, moving on. This is not working for me, so I'm just gonna go in with my hands and try to make this work. I've got to find that other container. I really do. It was so much better. It's bigger, clear. I could just shake it a little bit and it would mix a little bit better. Ugh. All right, let me get a pot. All right, so I got a pot, and then here's the propagation. You can see here, I haven't actually pulled this completely out of the water yet, so let's see what that's gonna be like. Let me get this spider plant propagation out of here for now. All right, here we go. Wow, that is way more roots than I thought. Oh my god, I don't know if it's gonna fit. It's not gonna fit. No! Dang it. Alright, I don't have a bigger pot. I thought I had a bigger pot, but I don't have a bigger pot. These roots are huge. I think I'm gonna end up cutting it here. I think I'm gonna cut it here and turn it into 2 plants. Yeah, we're just gonna go with that. I'm just gonna turn it into 2 plants, and it's gonna be so much easier to pot up, and hopefully it will fit that way. Yeah, it's a tight squeeze. I'm gonna have to repot this soon, but we're gonna roll with that. I've got to go and get another pot. I would rather wait. Oh my gosh, I don't know. We'll see. This is what I'm gonna use. I'm just gonna use it for now, and then I'll find another pot later. So I am gonna layer some sphagnum at the bottom, and that way when I put the mix in, all of the worm castings and those rocks won't just fall out the little hole at the bottom. It kind of adds like an extra filter without putting something that's going to damage your plants in there. And now we play the let's fit all the roots in the pot game, and this is not the best way to do it. But you do what you can. It's a very light, airy mix, so I think it will be okay regardless. I'm just trying to make sure I have layers under here for these poor roots. I don't want them all sitting clumped together and growing into each other. I want them to have room to breathe. And sorry, it's focusing and not focusing because of my hands in this leaf. This thing is just too big and not enough space. I am going to stick a dowel. I got this dowel from the dollar store in like a pack of 6, I think. And I'm just going to use that to kind of train it. This does not have any aerial roots left, or any aerial roots yet, but I think it's going to very shortly, just because it's been growing quite a bit of roots and it's definitely ready for the next step. So we're just going to train it up and have it prepared. And I'm going to use the same little tape that I had from the first one. We're just going to reuse and recycle. And I will make sure to keep you guys updated on this. And definitely check out my Instagram and my TikTok. There we go. Happy plant. Let's get it a new home. Alright. Oh, I never told you guys this. I wanted to show you guys. I actually, because the terracotta trays will actually wick into wood, so whenever I put my terracotta pots on wood, I try to have some type of a plastic layer underneath them just to prevent that extra moisture. So this is going to be the Monstera mama plant's new home for now. Not the best lighting situation, but it is close to a window and it's going to get a little bit better light. I just can't fit it at that other location with the pole being so big now. This is what I've got and we're going to roll with it. I think I'll get an extra grow light to put here soon. And then we're going to put baby plant where mama plant used to be. So that way all of these calathea don't feel so sad without a Monstera. And it's going to get some good light here from the window and then the grow light right next to it. So I'm trying to angle it so it can catch as much light as possible.
Hopefully you guys learned a little bit more about Monstera and this kind of inspired you to go ahead and stake up your own, or maybe this inspired you to give the baby plants a chance. Instead of just going out and getting this big huge plant that you barely have room for anyway, get a smaller one. Then you can watch it grow, watch it mature, you can prune it how you want and have it grow the way you want it to grow. Oh, just an idea. Anyway, happy Plantmas, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!